Now let's continue our look into Ableton Live's drum racks. Again, I'm starting from a file, new live set. I'm coming into my device browser and going to my instrument folder and clicking hold on drum rack, dragging it to the empty gray spot here and creating a new track, hiding my browser, and deleting these tracks by selecting and using my big delete key. So now we only have the drum rack. In our previous section of the tutorial, we talked about how to get this folder of the samples out and onto the desktop so we can use them. Now again, we were dragging and dropping them onto the drum rack to create new sounds and triggering them. Now we're going to look at how to create a layer. So I'm just going to grab one of my crash cymbals here and drag it on top of C2. And again, it takes on the name of Crash 01 of that sample. If I drag another sample on, it will replace that one. However, if I drag one on top as I hold the Command key for a Mac or Control for Windows and then release, it now tells me we actually have a multi or two sounds playing at the same time. If I double click on this, we'll open up the editor. And we see that on the left hand side of the drum rack we have the macro, chain, and the device icons we've seen before in other racks. But if we come down here, we have the ability to have an auto follow thing. So let's open up the auto follow. Let's take a look at our chains a little bit more. So here we have the two crash cymbals, and we can have one receive a certain note and play another one. Now it's set to C2 because we dropped these sounds on C2. If you change that, you'll actually move the pad. You can also tell them to play a different note. Let's listen. Playing C2. Now let's tell this, I'm going to mute one. This higher one, I'm going to say play lower. Let's put them back on again. Now they blend together much better. Let's try pulling that on down. So we can change the tuning of what gets played when their note comes in. We can also come back out of I/O mode and change the volume, just making the lower one a little bit softer. It just tends now to add some body. So I/O allows us to see the input and output of MIDI information from that device. We can also add a return, which means we can add an audio effect inside this single pad for controlling the sound of this. I could add reverb or an echo or whatever, and then for each sound I would have a send level for controlling that. Let's look at that real fast. Coming over to my device browser, double clicking the reset, going to audio effects, and let's add in a filter delay, dragging in this drop area here. As soon as we do that, the send box becomes black. If I click on the send box, we now see that we actually have the ability to control the amount of send from each cymbal to go into this filter delay. Currently none. Let's listen. Now let's go back to that send level and send one of them into it. So it's sending it from here A into that filter delay. Let's add in another filter delay. Pull that down here. Let's change its panning now. We'll create one on the left, one on the right, and we'll send the other crash cymbal into that one. So I'm clicking, holding, sending this out just like on a mixer channel, and let's listen. I'm going to increase the output from the left hand side. So you see now that we can have included audio effects into a drum rack and have that isolated per pad. So the ability to control things within the drum rack is phenomenal. Let's go ahead and hide again our info view so we can see more of what's going on. So we can see this pad is the one we're currently using. It is in a multi-state. To get to the parameters, we can come over here. As soon as we install an audio effect for return, the send becomes active. We can see the I/O configuration for MIDI information. What happens when it receives that MIDI C2, what note does it play? And we can put them in choke groups, which is a drum feature that you can look into more if you wish to explore this. Now you can drag anything onto a pad. It does not have to be a waveform whatsoever. You can drag a complete device on here. I could take another audio rack and drag it onto a pad. I could take an operator synth and drag it onto a pad and have it play a specific note whenever I hit a pad. Bear in mind again that we have up to 128 pads here that we can use in any combination. You're really going to want to get in and explore drum racks. They're very, very powerful and have a lot of room for creativity.